have Mrs. Dorothy Zake. Wave to the members. They should see that there is no problem with retirement. Yes, Dr. Geoffrey Anada, you are most welcome. People shouldn't fear retirement. Mr. Otman Semwich, where is he seated? He should join us soon. So we have some retirees and members of MAPS. Welcome to this session. And I say that from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the trustees, on behalf of the scheme. I wholeheartedly welcome you to this session. Thank you so much for keeping time. We started at exactly 2, and I'm not going to be the one wasting time because we are not known for that. My job is very simple, to give welcoming remarks, so please, you are most welcome. Feel at home. We cherish our members. We like the versatility of our members, the involvement of our members in whatever way. So we'd like you to listen to us carefully today. We have a message. You have your expectations that we expect that we are going to share. There are many things we can talk about, but as trustees, we'll be very happy if today we can talk about early access. Early access to retirement benefits. So the ideal goal is that you are saving for retirement. But is there a way you can get all or some of your savings before retirement? So anything that allows that for you to get your money before you actually retire, which is 60 years at Makerere normal retirement, or 55 years early retirement. So any method or any event that allows you to get either some or all of that money before you retire early at 55, or you normally retire at 60, is what we are calling early access. So maybe it's because I want to, can I write to the secretary, for example, and say, give me some 2 million. I know I've not yet reached there, give me some 2 million. That you'll be talking about early access. Is that option available? What are the options there? What are the benefits? What are the dangers? Because we are saying we want to save for retirement, but there might be good reasons for which you should get some or all of that money before you actually clock retirement. That is what we are generally calling early access. I know many people would want the topic to be mid-term, but mid-term is actually one, let's say one of the possible options for executing early access to retirement benefits. So let's listen carefully. Some methods you may propose are legal acceptable, some are not legal acceptable. And why should you even say, give me some of that money before I achieve the overall goal for which I was saving, and that is early retirement? Why should you say that? What are the benefits of that? That's what we want to talk about. I think the retirees here with us never got a chance of early access. Maybe that's why they are looking very nice. But we are looking forward to the topics of today. I welcome you all to attentively listen to us, because I believe this is a topic that is on the streets and on the lips of everyone now. So thank you so much. I'm not supposed to speak, but welcome you and kind of give you an appetizer of what to look forward to. So thank you so much. We look forward to an interactive session. Allow me hand back to the program manager, that is Juliet Nakea. Thank you.
as well as the 63 members who are attending this session online. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for taking interest in planning for your retirement. We are here to be sensitized on midterm access. All right? We are proceeding with our program. You will allow us skip item number 3 and proceed to item number 4. And at this point in time, I'm going to invite the Secretary Board of Trustees, Mr. Wilbur Grace Naigambi, to come and share with us the history and impact of early access to retirement benefits at Makerere University. Mr. Naigambi, you are most welcome.
Members, I'll also say good afternoon to you all. Members, good afternoon to you all. Fine. It's my pleasure once again to be interfacing with our members on this topic, which is an interesting topic and which has come to our lips, I think, over the last 1.5 years, 1.5 years to 2 years. And we find ourselves also at mark to be able to talk about it. I'll start by giving some facts about a process which we know related to the process that paves the way for the payment of midterm, which generally is accessing benefits before retirement age. We also, members of staff, we saw the communication from the University Secretary that was made to all members of staff to the effect that the Makerere University Council had approved amendments to the trust deed and scheme rules. We had earlier interfaced with you, all staff, in various fora, where we explained that the provision to pay out benefits under this window, which we call the midterm window, had not been catered for earlier. And for that reason, it was not possible for the trustees to start doing it because it was not one of the ways under which one would access benefits. So we started, like we explained, on a longer process that involved making amendments to the trust deed and scheme rules to allow for staff to receive benefits under the midterm or before retirement as part of their benefits. So when we received that communication, on the 9th. I remember on the 10th, we were able to get a certificate of compliance. 9th was a Thursday, 10th was a Friday, and on Monday, 13th, we submitted a request to UBRA to be able to allow us or approve the amendments that we had proposed in the trust deed and scheme rules. So right now, as far as the trustees are concerned, the question of whether or not whether is not there. It is just a matter of time that the scheme will now start paying out this benefit to qualifying members. So it's not saying, will we pay or will we not pay? We've gone over that stage now. So at this time we are saying, when will we start paying? And we are being proactive as trustees to say that as we await the approval, let's do what we know UBRA will tell us to do. they will tell us sensitized members. So we say, as we wait for the approval, we'll start on the sensitization, so that when OBRA says sensitized members before you pay, we'll tell them we've already sensitized them. Under the proposed changes or amendments, one of these access windows will be that anyone who has attained 45 years of age and has been with the scheme for at least 10 years will be eligible to apply and receive 12% of their benefits. I need also to assure members that the scheme has the ability to pay every qualifying member. So it's not a matter of saying these ones receive, these ones not receive. As long as you've attained all, you have attained all, you are above 45 years of age, and you've been with the scheme for at least 10 years, the moment this approval is done and has been received, and you put in your application, we have put in mechanisms we've put in place mechanisms to ensure that everyone is paid who qualifies. I need also to say that it is not mandatory for you to take out this money. You can take it or leave it. And also, I'll point out this quote. It was by Daisy Nabakova, who is Director of Compliance and Monitoring at BUBRA. He says, not everyone who retires has difficulty with the transition, but those that have not planned for the transition experience these problems. They are at a greater risk of mental and physical health problems. Awareness of this fact and taking appropriate steps ahead of time allows for a smoother transition. It lessens the negative effects of the change and enhances your ability to enjoy this new period of your life that could contain endless possibilities. In other words, when you plan well for your retirement, you should be able to enjoy it, because it's a transition from one stage to another. Why is this sensitization program important to you? One, so that you don't do what others are doing for the sake of it. There are many instances, even in institutions like, say, a university, but it happens a lot in schools, where when you see majority of people doing something, you also do it. But here we are saying that let's cut out the sensitization program so that you just don't do what others are doing for the sake of it, but you take an independent, informed decision. So in this session, part of what we'll be doing will be to equip you or to share with you as much knowledge as possible. You have members who have left the university, the introductions who are going on. They will also be sharing with you certain things. I'll also be sharing with you certain things. The guest speaker will also be sharing with you certain things. So that as a result of that, when you say, I'm going to apply, or I'm not going to apply, you have enough information that is informing your decision. And the second is for you to be aware that decisions you make can have consequences on you as an individual, positively or negatively. So I'll highlight some key differences between saving for investment and saving for retirement. Sometimes there are some terminologies and things which we use, and we may not make significant differences between these two. But those who may want me to clarify on it, please pay attentively. Some of us I know we know, some of them like ambassadors, but I want to highlight it. When you save for retirement, the money you save for retirement is purely for retirement. You consume it after you have retired. The money you save for investment is for investment. So the philosophies, the concepts, how they are managed, they are different. Even the terminologies which are used are also different. When you say you are saving for investment, you may save in vehicles, like you may save on your personal bank account, you may save with maybe a circle, you may save in a pyramid scheme, you may save in a family, you may save whichever way that you could do it. And it is not uncommon when you are doing that to be talking of things like, say, capital. How much do I have now, which I'm going to deploy to do my business? It's also common to talk of things like profit. Out of what I've done this year, how much have I earned? Or to talk of loss, how much have I lost out of the capital that I've deployed this year? Or trading and buying and selling. I may be probably importing spares, or I may be saving to import cars, and finally probably be selling them. Or investment. That amount that you are putting back, maybe the profit or the loss that you are putting back into the investment or changing the business. All these are possible when we are talking about saving for business. And you can access this money anytime and use it for whatever you want. It should not be difficult when you are saying, I'm saving for investment, to say that today, this lot, I've imported vehicles from Japan, and next week I'm changing business. I'll instead now be importing spare parts or importing new clothes. You can even change it if you want, and you can even change the entire business. So these are common things when you are saving for business. All factors are within your control. When we talk of saving for retirement, the type of question is the issues, philosophies, and concepts also change. Right now, this is a regulated sector. And therefore, there are certain things also that have to be done. For instance, you ask yourself, if you say you are saving for business because you've locked up these funds, you ask yourself, how long will it sustain you after retirement? These questions now become very pertinent, because that's the reason why you are saving. You'll be asking yourself such questions to say, how long, if I've saved, say, 40 million during the working life, how long will the 40 million sustain me after retirement? It also becomes important to be predicting how long will I live after retirement. Will I die because of worries? Will I die because other things, medical and so on? So those questions also, you may even start looking out for models that support those type of questions. You look out in Uganda and say, people who of this category, how long do they live after retirement? You look at either female, you look at male, you can also look at other countries and look at what those models look like to be able to look at that question much deeper. And also, very important is when you save for retirement, during the saving time, the time when you are saving, you lock up this money until you retire. That is, you will know that you are saving, but you will know that where I'm throwing in for the children when we are teaching them to save. I think we just put a small, when we say use coins, we just put a small window where they keep throwing the coins. Then you tell him, after 5 years, I'll open up this box and see what is in there. It is that type of thing that you do. So those funds are locked up. There's something which is there, which they are locked up for that purpose. So I'll move to the next illustration of effects of early withdrawal of retirement benefits at Makerere University. In our history here at Makerere University, we have accessed our benefits 2 times before. In 1996, those of you who were in the university at that time, you remember we accessed, if you received an appointment letter before 1996, there was a statement which was there, which was accompanied by, I think, a very big thing. It was talking of superannuation. And in 1996, whatever had accumulated under superannuation, we got it from whenever it was. I don't remember where it was being kept, but it was got, and we ate it. In 2013, I think between 1996 and 2012, these funds now started being deposited with NIC. And in 2013, I think this payment started in 2012 because it was done in 2 equal installments, one in 2012 and another one in 2013. So in 2013, The funds which had been kept in NIC, we also accessed them. The majority of us also accessed them. I know there are a few people who decided to leave those funds with the scheme. The access in 1996 was not partial. It was full access. Also, the access in 2013, those of you who remember, 2012 and 2013, it was full access. You could access 100% of your benefits. And personally benefited from both of these occasions. I remember 1996, I got that money, ate it. 2012, I also got it and also ate it. The effects of withdrawing these benefits have been that staff have not grown, that the benefits of staff have not grown naturally as expected. I'll be illustrating this. Juliet, you can help me just move to, and I try to explain that, to move to the next slide. I'll come back to that one later. When benefits grow, you expect them to grow at one time. And just go to the next slide so that I leave this place. When you have distortions in your retirement benefits, you start seeing something like this. There are things that can happen. One, it can just cause a horizontal line. You have your benefits stagnating at, say, 40 million. You have, last year you had 40 million, that is at age 50 you have 40 million, age 51 you have 40 million, age 52 you have 40 million, and I'll be explaining later how those type of things arise. The other effect can be that even instead of being stagnating, like you see that point there, that was an attempt of an access, I think, like you see that point, even instead of stagnating, you see it even coming down. So that you move away from the other graph, it is growing, then it reaches a point, it comes down, then it can start growing. Just go back to the next slide. The best practice and standard in the sector is this type of thing. You find public service follows this, the way that they use when one calculates and say, if I retire at 45, if I retire at 50, if I retire at 60. And you see also many countries, these are the models that are standard that you can use when you take years for which you've been saving and benefits that you have, or you take age, because those move hand in hand. You take your age and you take the benefits that you have. You should have a curve that looks like that. So I'll go back to what I was explaining. That when you withdraw benefits, you end up with, they will have been affected and they will not grow as naturally expected. And for this reason, our members of staff at Makerere University who retire, they retire with much smaller benefits than their peers in institutions with whom they started working at the same time. For instance, if you have somebody who you started working with in the same year, and he works, say, in Naro, and he started working there in 1995, regardless of the effect of salary, the fact that in 1996, these benefits were withdrawn, in 2013, these benefits were withdrawn, it would mean that the benefits of that your colleague would be more than your own benefits for those reasons. So with you, when you count benefits that you have, you are looking at roughly something like 12 years. Your colleague who joined NARO or any other institution, he's looking at something like 20 years. But remember that you've been working for the same time. All of you have been working for 20 years. But because those benefits were withdrawn 2 times, they would not be the same. Bullet number 3, it should be pointed out that as the law entrusts us trustees with your members' benefits, trustees grow them using a compounding formula. That's why that arrow will continue going up. We receive 5% of employee contribution and we receive 10%. That makes 15%. But in addition, the 15%, there's also something that continually happens. That is the interest which we keep awarding to members that also grows those benefits. So those are the 3 factors that take us to the other graph that I was explaining. Because I've already explained the graphs, I'll just give highlights on what are the likely causes of the second graph that we saw. What can happen, or what would be the cause? Just go back a little bit and look at that graph again. What are the likely causes of that type of graph in the sector like ours, the retirement benefit sector? Go back. The first cause would be, I thought about 3, would be investment returns. These are decisions taken by trustees and their fiduciaries. These are fund managers and other people. If you run into a scenario where the investments have not been done very well, you can end up in that scenario. I'll give an example. If you have a fund of, say, 50 billion, and the law allows 30% of that to be invested in immovable assets, you can either get a piece of land for 15 billion, or you can get property for 15 billion, whatever it could be. The law allows up to 15 billion. So if, for instance, you get a very good piece of land worth, say, 12 billion or 13 billion, and you buy it, and it turns out that the land has issues and you bought air. And it is established through, say, courts of law that you bought air, and you are not able even to do the recoveries. That loss of 14 billion is going directly now to the members, meaning that the fund size which you had of 50 billion, it has now reduced to 38 billion. And the way it affects members is that when you look at your statement, instead of you having, if you had, say, 10 million last year, you may look at your statement this year and see that you have maybe 8.2 or 7.8 million. So the investment decision is taken, or returns taken by trustees and their fiduciaries can be a cause for that graph to come down or to go up. Actually, to come down if they are not good decisions. The other cause could be high governance costs, especially when the scheme is in formative stages, because this also directly impacts the returns that are given to members. Governance costs, these are costs that the trustees incur in managing the scheme. So if they are high and not controlled, it is also possible that members' benefits can come down, so that you can look at that type of statement. But those 2 highlighted in red are those ones, they are outside the control of the members. Because the trustees are the ones who will be managing 1, they are also the ones who will be managing 2. The only good thing is that the law provides for it, that on behalf of the members, WUBRA keeps looking out, the regulator keeps looking out for those 2, to look out how are the funds being invested. WUBRA will be looking out what are the costs that trustees are carrying in governing, in management of the scheme. So on behalf of the members, WUBRA does that. The third one is the one which I was explaining before, which had happened much earlier, like say in our case. When benefits keep being withdrawn from a scheme, that graph can go down. Like I said, the example which I was showing you is a live example. I think at age of 45, one withdrew 20%, and that happened. So it is the one which is in blue, the last one, which is in the control of the members. The first 2 are in control of the trustees, and therefore WUBRA is the one that monitors them on the behalf of the members. The last one, that's entirely within your control. And the reason why you have this sensitization. We'll go to the last slide, or second last slide. And this is a case study. It is my own case study, because I said I benefited from both. But the first benefit in 1996, I couldn't trace how much I got. But in 2013, I was able to get my voucher where I signed the 2 times. And in that year, the money which I got was that money there. The one which was in NIC. It was 26,269,622. It was got in 2 installments, 2 equal installments. Now, I was running this amount through the interest which the scheme has been declaring since that time. Those rates are the rates that the scheme has been using. We had 12.6, 12, 8.0, 4.3, 10.12, 17, 10.6, 10.01, 13.35, 11.05. So the withdrawal which I did in that year, when I was receiving the NIC funds of 26 million, its effects today, if it had remained in the scheme, it would be 73.7 million. If it had remained in the scheme. Now, in terms of seeing the real effect, is if I were to get to enroll for a pension system now, the 73 million would be giving me something like 720 or 730,000 per month. If I was to enroll for a pension system right now, if I retired now and I enroll for a pension, every month until I die, I would be getting 730, between 720 and 730,000 per month, depending on the options that I elected. So the net effect of the withdrawal that I did, the access of my benefits, is that I reduced my pension monthly by 700,000. I remember in the public service, I think it's at the level of principal officer who get that pension of about 700,000, because the directors get slightly above that. So that's the level at which I would be. So the effect is that I lost out. So I started just rebuilding it. In 2013, when the scheme started, I started again rebuilding it out from zero, because I had already accessed that benefit. And I think this is the case for most of us here. So lastly, I've been a trustee for 6 years in the scheme. 1 year I was, 3 years I was a chairperson, and for 2 years I've been a secretary. And during that time, there are things that I have seen firsthand, and people I've interfaced with, people who are retiring and people who are about to retire. I'll just share with you 3 experiences that may be helpful for this session. There are people who retire and leave the funds with us, and yet they have the option to take them away. There are also people who, when they save in addition to the 5 and 10%, they make additional contributions. So all these things and decisions are yours. The retirement benefits that you see on your statement, they really become yours on the day of retirement. Those figures, we keep them in trust for you. You can access the 12% now or not. Like I stated, the choice is entirely yours, but you need to be aware that you'll manage your post-retirement period alone. That's really a fact. Because many people come to us and say, when I was at the university, I would meet so and so, I would belong to such and such an association. I had these people as my friends, but when I relocated to Kabale, I don't hear calls, I don't see such and such a person, I can no longer move. Meaning that we can be here together in this room as we are here, but in 2 years' time, myself, when I will be clocking retirement, I will be moving my home village alone, and I will be there alone. The second is our retirees work office are daily to follow up on their in-house funds. We've been talking about this, and I think all the people in this room understand it. This money was promised by the university when it was starting it about 15 years ago, and it was not provided for. So at the time when the scheme was beginning, we just inherited it as a debt. And government in 2021 slowly started paying it out to qualifying members. So government graciously releases this money in installments, and so far 6 installments have been released. More than 75% of the retirees have asked that we find the money elsewhere and pay them off. Because the percentage we paid out now is about 58%. But most of these people we talk to, they will say, no, if I'm remaining with the 2 million, you find where you get the 2 million. You pay me off, then with you recover it from my funds. But we explain and explain that we are only conduits of these funds and cannot do that because the law does not allow us. Right now, if I don't have that money, if it's not on the account of the scheme, and we get 2 million to pay me, if I ask for so that after you paid me 6 million, the balance of the 2 million, you pay me and I go out. When we do that, I'm touching your money who is still working to pay the person who left. And the law does not allow that, because my money is my money. It's not to be used to solve other people's problems. So we received and ate the net benefits. We now seem to need the in-house money more today than we needed the in-house funds 9 years ago. Because the majority of these people also, they benefited from the NIC funds. They benefited maybe from the 1996. But it appears that the demand now for this money which has not been received or which you are saving is much higher than the one taken before. And also, our staff who are about to retire, those we've interfaced with, because we do this at the office when you come to pick your forms, we first have a session with you for about 1 hour or 2, in addition to what we have here. Those that we talk to and we advise them regarding access to benefits, a number of them come back and thank us and say, yes, you gave me good advice. I was able to take a good decision. A majority of those who ignore our advice, some of them come back and share these stories and say, we wish you had listened to your advice at that time. Lastly, in the past, we have had an opportunity to recover some previous debts, giving some members a second chance to make good on the opportunity which were lost. That is, if, for instance, you got the first benefits 1996, 2013, and maybe even later when you had just retired and maybe you bought a piece of land and you see that things did not work out. The people who retired about 5 or 6 years ago, all of them have had the benefit of in-house. So some of them, those chances have been there. But every day, these debts have been reduced, meaning that the majority of us now, when we retire, we will not have another opportunity. Whatever we retire with, that will be all. We don't expect you to come back and say, I'm still demanding in-house, I'm still demanding this, because I'm almost certain that in the next 24 months, we'll have cleared all the debts that we have now, and the amount of money that we show in your statement, that is the amount of money you are going to retire with. You will not come back again to say, there is this debt, this money which I'm still demanding from the university. It will not be there. Our friends who retired 5 years ago, 6 years ago, they've had this opportunity. We paid them at that time, and they came back to demand in-house. But if in-house is fully paid, there will be nothing again to come back and demand. So you'll walk out of the gates once, and you'll not be able to come back to say, I'm demanding retirement benefits. Thank you, colleagues, for listening to me. Juliet, over to you. Use this one. I would like to take this opportunity to invite, as our program reads, our retirees who have going to give some testimonies to us, live testimonies on their experiences.
Immediately, the particular order.
Okay. They were introduced when we were beginning, and I'll take the prerogative to use the order, to invite them in the order in which they sat next to the chairperson. So I'll start with Dorothy, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dorothy Senogazake, a retiree. I worked for Makerere University for 30 years and retired 4 years ago at the rank of manager in the Directorate of Human Resources. I was invited by MABS to share my experience as a retiree. But I've noted that this workshop is about early access. I'm wondering whether I'm the right person to share on early access of benefits. Early retirement, early access, it reminds me of the time when we got NIC money. I was one of those who got NIC, the NIC benefits. But if you ask me at this time what I did with that money, I cannot tell you. The frame of mind that I had at that time is different from that at the time when I retired. The time when I got that money, we were excited. I was still getting my money, the salary, so I did not think a lot about what I would do with that money. And up to this time, I tried to look back. I don't remember what I did with that money. But on the other hand, at the time when I retired, I had to think carefully about how I would utilize my money. Remember, I realized that that would be my final payment. I would not expect to get any more salary from the university. I had to be careful about how I utilize that money. Maybe let me take you a bit back. At the time of my retirement, I was in the office that was handling retirees. And I got an opportunity to interact with many colleagues who had already retired from the university. These are members of staff who had already got their benefits from MABS, and down the road, like 2 to 3 years, they would come back looking for in-house. Because they had already exhausted, they would have already exhausted the other amount that they got from MABS. So here they were trying to request us as HR to calculate and see whether they could get some more funds from the university. So at the time when I retired, I didn't want to be like that, to be coming back every other day, desperate, looking for in-house. Fortunately, at the time, before I retired, MABS organized trainings for people like me who were about to retire. And at one of the workshops, they mentioned an insurance investment program, which is called the annuity plan or annuity scheme, that I got interested in. This scheme, it is comparable to a pension scheme. Once you invest in it, the insurers, they invest your money, and then they give you payments monthly up to when you die, just like what happens for pension. The difference for annuity, it is your personal decision to decide whether to invest in it or not. And you may decide to invest the whole amount that you get or just part of it. For me, I decided to invest all what I got from MABS. I decided to invest it in an annuity. And that's the time, by the way, when I realized that I thought back and I wish that the university should have kept my NIC money. Because what I got, I wasn't that satisfied with it. I wish the university had kept my NIC money so that it would have accumulated by the time I retired. So what I did personally, I had invested in some other things like planting trees. So what I did, I sold the trees and then I added that amount to the other program that I told you about, the annuity. Because the more you invest there, it means that your monthly payments are also more. So thank you, ladies.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to have been invited to share with you my story. I'm Bernard Godfrey. I taught at the School of Industrial and Fine Art for 21 years until when I retired. But what I want to draw your attention to before I come to the gist of the matter today or this afternoon is that there are certain peripheral surroundings around the topic, early access, which I want you to be alert to. This morning when I was trying to recollect my mind, I said, hey, let me have a look at my appointment letter, at least for one more time. And I noticed one thing. It didn't have an expiry date. But I also noticed another thing, that have been expiring gradually and in installments. I never used to wear glasses. Now I have 2 pairs. I have some gray hair. Sometimes you get some backache, etc. You know what you are going through if you are proximal to my age. But if you are aware that you are going through this, you are gradually expiring, and your appointment letter has no expiry date, I'm appealing to you that you become conscious of these gradual changes in your body system as silent reminders that one day, even when the letter terminating you comes, you have already got the red flags. So, and at the same time, let me also draw you to this one. When I was in senior 2, I went to church in Kasubi, and there was this gentleman who used to come with his son. He was about 5 years old, and he read the scripture for that day. And then he said, you are the salt of the earth. But of what use is salt when it has lost its saltiness? It's only good for throwing away and be trampled upon by men. Of what use are you after retiring? You're only good enough to go back home and fend for yourself without the assistance of the salary you are getting. The umbilical cord feeding you will have been severed off. The question is, do you have other umbilical cords as you wait for this main tube to be cut off? Now, what are the mitigating factors? My colleagues who were close organized a silent party for me when I was retiring. And they gave me 2 outstanding presents. One, a decoder of start times with a screen of 14 inches. But something that looked like less important was a picture upon which was a man riding a bicycle. And there were certain other words following below that picture. And the words were saying, Godfrey, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep riding. After retirement, how are you going to keep the balance? And what are you riding anyway, if the job you are riding has been cut off? Do you have other things to ride? And how do you keep the balance? And what are you balancing anyway when you have been unbalanced? So the only way to keep in balance is that you have to put in place certain things to assist you when nobody is coming to your rescue. Now, these places of employment, I look at them like very luxurious, decorated prisons, where every year they recruit new happy inmates, oblivious of what is happening in that prison. And then you are very happy. Why? You are surrounded with a very nice salary or a salary. You are surrounded with the university accommodation. That is if you didn't come from outside. You are possibly given transport and have these friendly workmates. You have opportunities. You have contacts. You have an address. All these things are going to vanish in a flash the moment a letter comes from the appointments board reminding you that you have so many days, months, or even a year. I was not informed of that. Why? By nature, man is supposed to be security conscious. And the instinct of survival goes up to the deepest end of a single cell in your body. It has to fend for itself. So how about you with millions of cells in you? Why don't you create a synergy of yourself and then start seeing yourself as an entity to survive without the assistance of other bodies or other beings? So what did I do as mitigating factors? I was listening to my body. An ache here, glasses have come in. Then I knew that things were not like how I used to be. Then I said, okay, if that's the case, when am I supposed to stop producing children? I reached a conclusion. I said, okay, by 36, I had stopped, thinking things wouldn't catch up with me. I stopped at 36. And then I said, okay, from my salary, what do I do? There's nothing that haunted me like not having a house. And I prayed to God when I was doing my MA that at least I should build a house or even if things failed, I should buy a plot. Fortunately, by the time I finished my MA, I'd not only bought the plot, I'd put an adjoining one to it and I'd roofed my house. But I decided to stay in that incomplete house, only in that section equivalent to the one I was hiring. Don't wait to finish these houses. Enter, however small or how shabby it is. You will never have time to finish it. If you told me to buy my house today, I can't afford it because I was cumulatively working on it for 20 years. So meaning if I worked for Makerere for 21 years, 20 years were spent not on the house. I had children to pay fees for, I had relatives, I had other things to cater for. So the trickles that I would get would go for that. But are you going to be sustained by that house, which you call a family house, after retirement? And what have you put in place to bridge that gap? You will realize, fun enough, that as much as people are saying you built a nice house, it won't sustain you. Actually, now I look at it and say, I wish I hadn't made it those feet. I wish I hadn't done this. But that one was too late. But what did I do? After realizing those problems, I don't know whether you have ever had something to do with the contract save. The moment I knew now problems were coming, and by the way, what I'm telling you, the planning started 7 years in advance. That survival instinct was triggered off 7 years in advance. Then I started mitigating. I entered the contract with the Stanbic Bank and told them, excuse me, every time I get my salary cut off this, take it this way. So on that silent account, the moment the money accumulates, depending on the months you have told them, they push it back on your main account. But I said, if it comes back my main account, I'm going to use it. I created a fixed deposit. Treat money like a prisoner, otherwise it will escape. So I pushed it into fixed deposit. And I was, for those years, entering these contract accounts, contract save accounts with Stanbic Bank and pushing that money that way. But at the same time, making sure that I'm managing my salary effectively, because I had 5 children to pay school fees for. And fortunately, if I'm to hesitate and tell you, all those 5 of them are graduates, 2 with master's degrees, another one is a tailor. And one of them is an assistant lecturer around here. But anyway, I'm trying to show you the things I had to bridge in order to drive all the things equally. Now, there was this money of national insurance. The moment I got it like this, I said, you're a prisoner, number 2. Fixed deposit. I didn't care how little the dividends were on fixed deposit. I even entered something to do with the, Stanbic Bank has these members, you can push their money, your money, and it's like you're a member of that bank. And but the interest, they took my 400,000, what I was getting 20,000 shillings a year, I forgot. Now came the retirement benefits. But before I came to that, at the moment I realized I was 45, I knew 55, I knew I could access NSSF. I got that NSSF money, pushed it on the fixed deposit, prisoner number 3. Meanwhile, I remember the contract save was running. Then it came the retirement benefits. It was quite something, but it wasn't enough for the ideas I had in my head. Okay, let me just give you a little tip. You would be maybe anxious to know that all these prisoners that I was imprisoning, to what did they accumulate? By the time, before I got my retirement benefits, I knew I had to start on the project to sustain me after retirement a year in advance, so that the moment you supply me with this letter terminating me, I'm already on the move. I had 52 million shillings saved from these things I've been telling you. And then I started on the project I wanted. A year in advance. By the time these people were writing to me, or trying to remind me that I'm supposed to go, I smiled a bit. You go in a little bit of a panicking mode, but mine wasn't escalated because I'd been planning. So this money helped me not only to finish the whole project, but to have a comfortable end to it. They were rental houses. I managed to make 7 units. So we used to joke with each other with a certain colleague at school and say, you would call me landlord simply because I'd bought a certain acre of land, but I wasn't yet a landlord. But now it is actual. I'm trying to give you encouragement and to see the systems as how they operate. Now, in a house, if I hadn't done that, I would have cried. Because it is just trickling in. They call you, Madam Nabukera calls you, Mr. Mandada, there is this. Then you come for the 1 million. You can't do anything with that. So you have to target retirement and make sure that it doesn't become a devil to you, or even escalate or quicken your stay on this planet. We need to persist here. Our children need us, our relatives. Make sure that if you haven't built up something or even a plot, please struggle and use those methods I've been telling you to secure a small piece of land, however small it is. The area where I built those rentals, I bought that piece in 1995, where I built the residential house, 1994. If I was going to use this money of retirement benefits, it wasn't going to be enough to buy the plot and then build these things. No. So some of these things, I can see some of you are still within working range. And if you are proximal to my age, please quicken and start making very serious plans so that you don't go to people. People, the moment you retire, they drift away. I have people who never call me these days, but I'm very happy. Why? They would turn out to be liabilities on me. Let everybody stay where he is. Otherwise, you have, I think, noticed that we have the pre-retirement period, we have the retirement period, and then we have the post-retirement period. And then that mid-term thing is what I want to wind up with. But before that, given these things that I've been telling you, if you access your money now and you start subtracting it, I want to draw your attention to one factor, that those are your savings which you are supposed to accumulate in order to hit a target. Treat that money like a loan. A loan is supposed to be got as an expedient, because you cannot get that money. You get that money for a target which you have to execute within a limited time. Don't marry, don't buy cars, don't do anything. Even when you get your retirement benefits, don't drive cars, new cars. Cars are liabilities. Although I've kept mine for 5 years since I retired, but it is a liability. I've developed new manners about that car. So when you are going to access that money, or if you have intentions of accessing it, access it with a target. Because it is like money you are getting in advance, and yet it should have come at the end or you should have started to use it 1 year before you retire. But now you're accessing it. It is a risky business. It's not easy to manage. I've had people saying, with due respect, I hate it. I heard those words. I hate it. I don't know what I did with it, and so on. So, in a brief, after retirement, these are the things that I want to wind up with you so that they safeguard you. Number one, don't borrow, don't lend. Okay? Don't start projects for which you don't have time to finish. Don't live in the shadow of the splendor of your past glories at Makerere. Accept your new identity. Don't live other people's lives, live your life. Don't lift extra baggage. I know people starting produce at 60. Now, don't bank on your children. You educated them to sustain themselves. If they wish, let them do something for you. Don't bank on them. If you bank on them, then you didn't plan. Increase your human capital. Don't forget your friends, keep in touch. Socialize and avoid loneliness. Listen to radio, listen to music. Keep your talents alive. After retiring, don't just go in limbo. Write a novel. Depending on your profession, write a novel. Become a consultant, even if you're an engineer. Keep your talents alive. I'm the type of person who sleeps around 3 a.m. because I've been painting. If you type in my name, you'll know who I am in Google. So, have a healthy diet, exercise. I started exercising 20 years ago. And then, keep your spirit alive and pray to God that He gives you luck, good fortune, and perhaps a very good landing in heaven. Thank you for listening to me.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here being invited by MAPS as a retiree. Come and share experience with you. My name's Mr. Simposman. I've joined Makerere University 1978, working as an electrical engineering person, rendering electrical engineering services to members of staff in colleges and offices, students in halls of residences, and in their colleges of study. I retired 2017 early that year. I served Makerere University for a period of 8 years. The time of retirement, these are the experiences, the problems have been, or challenges have been undergoing. One, when I stopped getting monthly income, there was some kind of starting. So that I had started a small managerial projects. When I got the benefits, that is maps, starting with that, I sank off that some of that money, or injected some of that money into some of the projects which I started earlier on before I retired. But because of poor managerial skills, some of the people I was sharing this business, they let me down. Some of which went to school fees, and the rest went to the health of my family, like caring for my parents who had long-term illness, and I myself. Time came for in-house. I also got it, sank a part of it in some contracting works, whereby some of the clients disappointed me and never got good returns. So as I was going on, life became a bit hard. And later on, I developed the problem on my side, which has also consumed a lot of money. To put it right again, that is on site. So I will not go far. As regards members of staff who are still in service, I beg you kindly, before I retire, think tenfold on how you can start small managerial projects, because after retirement, you might get disappointed if you have to start new projects, which I have not planned of before. So when you get that money, you just inject it in the already existing managerial programs. Two, if you are to become successful, always monitor and evaluate the program you have initiated or you have started. That is generating income. So that it can help you to assess whether the projects you have started we carry you more, we carry you further in your life. So by so doing, we check on the pitfalls which are likely to be pertaining in your what? In your money projects, which help to sustain your life until the day when you clock off. Three. Before retirement, there has been a mistake done to some members. This goes to the members who are still in service. Always try to find out from the authorities that they serve you with letters alerting you when you should get retired. Sometimes some people don't get them, and this is a disappointment. To some of us, like me, I experienced that. I continued serving for a longer period without getting any letter, first letter or second letter. And because of the nature of my work, sometimes you leave the place when you are completely exhausted. The time you come back tomorrow, you have to continue the same. You see? So you may not know what is going on in the what? In the big house. That is the main, formally the main. So this one should be done by the authorities to saturate those alerting letters so that the staff members plan ahead when they are. Thank you very much for listening to me. I wish you a good stay.
Let's give a big hand clap to our retirees. These were once like us, but life is, yes, time came when they had to, bid bye-bye and start new life altogether. Thank you so much, Mr. Semuju. Thank you so much, Dr. Baneda. Thank you so much, Madam Dorothy Zaki, for sharing with us your testimony, your work life, and then giving us a snip into what is happening in your retirement life. Let's give them another hand clap. I know very few of us would be willing to come and share their stories. Once again, we would also like to thank the secretary. He has given us a history. Most of us, especially those who have just joined, may not know the history of retirement benefits at Makerere University, but at least the secretary has given us that history. And now we know that the issue of midterm access, or the discussions on midterm access at Makerere University, are not starting in 2022 or 2023, but they've been here way back in 1996, using the remarks that the board secretary shared with us. We are proceeding with our program, and at this point in time, you're going to allow me welcome the board secretary to introduce to us our facilitator this afternoon, who is going to share the expert's perspective on early access to retirement benefits. Secretary, you are welcome.
Thank you, Juliet. I would like at this moment once again to introduce Mr. Joseph Lovinsa Jamwaka. Can you please stand up, although people will see you here as you come up? Mr. Jamwaka is a leader in insurance, pensions, risk management, management consultants and training. He holds a master's in business administration, specializing in strategic management from Management University of Africa, and is currently undertaking a PhD in business management, specializing in strategic management at Jomo Kenyatta University of Science and Technology. He is an associate of the Chartered Insurance Institute and also a fellow of the Life Management Institute, and is a full member of the Kenya Institute of Management, and also on the Institute of Directors of Kenya and Professional Trainers Association Kenya. He has successfully held many senior management positions over the last 15 years. He's currently the director in charge of strategy, training and research at the School of Pension and Retirement Studies. He also is an independent director at the Metropolitan Canon Life Insurance, and previously was the head of examinations at the College of Insurance. He also worked at the Association of Kenya Insurers Association as the senior manager in charge of life insurance business, and is also a good stakeholder management specialist, as he has held the posts of Director of Insurance at the Institute of Kenya. He worked at the British American Insurance, as well as Uniminate Insurance Brokers in the life and pensionist divisions. Once again, join me to welcome Mr. Joseph Lovinsa Jamwaka to speak to us on that subject. Joseph, you are most welcome.
Good afternoon, guys. How are you? You're looking like, what's up? Are you good? Can we just stand up a bit? You're looking like, let's just stand up a bit. Have our retirees challenged us? Aren't they looking nice? Our guys, you guys have challenged us. You know, I've looked at the lady. I thought she was about 35, 40. So guys, can we just jog where we are? It's a bit hot. Just jog where you are. Jog where you are. A little jog. Hello, at the back, you're not jogging. A little jog. Okay. Stretch out a bit, but don't hit anyone. Don't try and hit anyone. Okay. Just do like this. Just be happy. Be happy. Clap like this. Good. So we may be seated. So no problem. So guys, I'm glad to be here and be able to share with you. The secretary, I have not met him, but apparently we have done a big project together while I was in Nairobi and he was here. So thank you so much, Bwana Secretary, you're doing a good job. We appreciate you. So the issue of access to benefits is a very interesting one. And how I wish this hall was full, because I can see the active membership from what I'm seeing there is what? 3,093. So you guys, the kind of tips that I have gotten myself from these 3 testimonials, I mean, you can't get it anywhere. Am I right or wrong? You don't just get it anywhere on the street. So please, let's participate in these activities because it will take us places. So my role here is simple, just to share a few snippets. And thankfully, what I'm sharing largely has been covered by all these other people. So it's actually going to make my work quite easy. In fact, the thing that I want to share with you is that, yes, people in my generation, people who are in the X generation, people born just after around 1965, going upwards, going below that, are people who have been taking care of their parents. Is that not so? We almost look at it as a duty that you have to take care of your parents. But just like has been stated, do not expect your child to take care of you. Actually, they are not bothered. The generation that we are producing will not take care of you. So you have to take care of yourself as much as possible. Then the other thing that you need to remember, is that you need money in old age. If these 3 didn't have money, would they be looking the way they are looking? Hello? Would they be looking the way they are looking? You actually need money in old age. And the fact is that quite a number of people struggle in old age. They struggle quite a bit with basic things. So they need to be able to, I'll use his term, arrest things and be able to make them productive is a big lesson that we need to carry home. So remember, we are living in the urban area. I don't know if we can share the slides or something, or do I plug in? I may need some technical help so that I can do the projection. So the tech guys, kindly please sort me out. It's okay. It had your cry, had my cry, and it's okay. So I've already hinted at the fact that many of us who are currently living in the urban area, we're so happy. We're living in probably rented houses, very nice houses. We have to be very careful because life will not always be that way after we hit retirement age. So this has already been said, but getting it from another perspective is also not a bad thing. But as we near retirement, just like myself, one thing that we need to be clear about is to ensure that we invest in our families and we invest in our communities. So that husband of yours, that wife of yours who's been taking good care of you, this is the time to start building that relationship to even better, because there'll be the people who will take care of you. The other thing is to manage yourself financially. And there you've been given a lot of tips in terms of what to do to manage yourself financially. So among the things that you need to know is that cash, you're going to need a lot of cash, not assets. What are you going to need? You will need cash in plenty for you to be able to do your things. Then you need to ensure that your assets are optimally diversified so that you can be able to liquidate them easily as and when you need them. Then of course there are issues of wealth, of health and wellness. And you've been told by, it was Dr. Bernard, to ensure that you're exercising, that you're taking good care of your health as much as possible as you get to near retirement. Again, try and find out what you need to adjust on. He has talked about maybe you may not need that big car after all. You might need a much smaller one in terms of what you require. Maybe you don't need that big house after all. You might need something that is comfortable for you. So you need to do that. And then of course, ensure that you consider both physical health as well as your mental health. Then you need to generate passive income. Generate passive income. He has told you about his rentals where he doesn't have to do anything. Right now, he's waiting for the 5th of the month because you guys are supposed to pay him rent by the 5th of the month. So he only has to sit back and wait for you to be able to pay him. And it is said, if you do not find ways to make money while you are sleeping, then you will work until the day you die. So I didn't say it. Warren Buffett said that. Why is that so? You will be the person who will be coming to seek for extensions of contract because you are not yet ready. So you will be disturbing people in HR, people wherever they are, to extend for you another 1 year, another 2 years, for you to sort out things that you should have sorted out right now. So how do you get passive income? On top of what he said, I want you to add things like money market funds. Funds where you can put in some money every other month. You can create a compulsory way of putting in money in such funds to be able to help you in the future. You can look at business, but business, if you've been coming here every other time, you're working in finance, you are a lecturer, you're working in hospitality, honestly, the thing that you know is the work that you're currently doing. So don't lie to yourself that you will retire and then be able to succeed in a business which you have no idea about. Then, of course, being able to have rental income is important. Things like money market funds, fixed deposits, and commercial papers can be considered as instruments that allow you to get passive income. Passive income, remember, is income where you don't work. You sit back and the money comes into your pocket. Isn't that not a good thing? Hello, guys, is that a good thing? So as you're doing your work even now, you can ensure that you are enjoying passive income. So when you're enjoying passive income, when people start clamoring for salary increments for this and this, you don't even bother. Because if it comes, let it come. But if it doesn't come, you don't have to keep on getting stressed up that, my salary has not been increased, I have not gotten that promotion, and so on and so forth. Then, of course, apart from the annuity which she talked about, the income drawdown can also be used. And I'm told the scheme very soon is making arrangements to be able to also include income drawdown arrangement. But then the annuity is a very easy solution for you at the point you are retiring, because it means that you can do your things and then continue receiving the salary that you are used to, which brings you a lot of stability. So ensure you generate sufficient income. The other thing is to develop a healthy routine. Recall what you are told. Basic things like making sure that you start your day with a purpose, making sure that you keep your hobbies. We didn't share notes, by the way, but apparently my notes and his are reconciling very well. Trying new things. By the way, I don't know, Kwani, which sources were you using? I know you're using your own source, but you can see the things that the guy is trying, painting. Then, of course, learning new skills. Who says that when you are a lecturer in ancient history of Greece, you cannot learn how to make cakes? Who says so? You can learn new things that can help you to be able to do your job well. Then, of course, goodness, you need to spend some time writing or reading at night. Spend time writing or reading, or even just creating your own diary or journal. Then make sure that you relax before bed, so you can avoid social media just before bed, just to make life easier for you. Remember, we are preparing for a comfortable retirement. Most importantly, save and invest one's retirement. Ensure that you are saving, that you're investing towards retirement. And just to give you a perspective, which is not so good, a lot of senior citizens, and this I don't even need to tell you, you know them, they really struggle in old age. About 85% of people in Uganda, of the older people, especially in the rural, struggle to survive. So you have older persons who are in chronic poverty. They are suffering. And these people are not so much different from you and me. You can easily get there if you draw and eat. I don't know how you eat money, but the secretary will tell us how is money eaten. He'll share with us how to eat money and how he ate his. So again, if you look at almost 2/3 of the persons above the age of 60, they tend to have a disability. And Bernard told you about an ache here, about what here. So when you have a disability, it means that you can't do the usual work that you would be able to do. So you are actually vulnerable and you are in need of funds. The other thing to remember is that research carried out by the Retirement Benefits Authority of Kenya has shown that around 80% of the working class retire into poverty. It's a very startling statistic, but it is true. And the reasons why these forums are here is because of avoiding being amongst that kind of a statistic. And Kenya is not any different from Uganda. The stats in Kenya mirror very, very well the situation that we have here in Kenya. And the reason why people struggle in retirement is because they believe that retirement is far off. And you can see this is a true reflection. Out of 3,000 persons, this room would not even have been enough to meet the people. It's because when they had Moves is having a function about this, there is nothing. I'm still young. I don't need to be in that kind of forum. That one is for people above the age of 50 or above the age of 55 who are nearing what? Retirement. By the way, years fly very fast. Have you really noticed that? Today is which date? Which date? Wasn't Christmas just the other day? Was it not just the other day? It was just the other day, isn't it? So time really runs so fast. So we need to start preparing for retirement the moment that we receive our letters of appointment. And the other thing that should tell you to ensure that you prepare adequately for retirement is because statistics are showing that our life expectancy has been going up. Is that not true? Aren't we living longer than we used to live many years back? Hello, guys, you're quiet. Are we living longer or shorter lives? Contrary to popular belief, we actually are living longer. So if you look at the statistics right now, the life expectancy curve for Uganda has been on an increasing trend. And at the moment, we are talking about 64 years as the life expectancy. But don't be fooled. Don't be. This is the life expectancy for the general population, for everyone, including that border guy, including that guy, including everyone. For you, you are in actual terms known as a select group. You are a what? A select group. You are a group that is select. And you are a select group because right now you are in a comfort zone. You have medical cover, you're comfortable generally. So your life expectancy is slightly higher than the average population. Are you aware? Your life expectancy is higher than what you would expect in the general population, meaning that you need a lot of money in retirement. Are you getting that point? And this curve here shows you clearly that indeed we actually have to prepare for a very long and comfortable life. So I don't need to really re-emphasize the need for you to save for retirement. Safe to state that when you save and use methods for retirement, it's very good because to us. Then, of course, there are things that the Secretary has talked about, things like using schemes to be able to guarantee certain benefits. So all those things are critical and they can really help us as we navigate our retirement life. And then, of course, I've talked about longevity, the fact that we'll tend to live longer. God is continuously blessing us with a much longer life than has been in the past. So there is another table here. I need help. So there's another stat here, which is interesting, which I thought I would share with you. Perfect. So there's another interesting piece of statistics here. Financial status in retirement. How are retirees looking like once they retire? So this is where we are going to, and this is a study that has been done, that was done by, again, Retirement Benefits Authority. So only 6% of retirees are financially independent. A financially independent person is the kind of guy you go to today in the evening and you tell him, I feel like I need to take coffee at a certain place. And they'll tell you, no problem, let's go for it. That is a financially independent person. They'll not start saying, but our salaries have not yet hit the bank, but so imagine only 6%. If you do the maths, you find 6% is a very small item. Then we have 47% of guys. They want to depend on relatives. These are the guys who have all the relatives on speed dial. Mr. X, you know, my wife is delivering, or you know, I need money for this, and they almost get annoyed that you're not able to give them money. Imagine almost 50% want to depend on relatives. 31% cannot afford to retire. 31% can't do what? Cannot afford to retire. These are the guys who will be seeking extensions on contracts. These are the same guys who will be taking up lower paying jobs. These are the guys who will be looking for jobs after retirement. Do you want to be there? You don't want to be there, isn't it? Then there are people who may depend on pension. So try and be in this quadrant, the financially independent and probably the ones that are able to live on their pension funds. But if you withdraw pension funds, remember there'll be nothing. So how will you survive? So how can you grow your retirement benefits? By the way, and I want you to confirm, Susan or the secretary, are you allowed to contribute more into the pension scheme? You are allowed to add contributions into your pension scheme so that you can have a much bigger pot at retirement. So make sure that you can outlive your assets as much as possible. Then one way to minimize that risk is to take a portion of your retirement money and purchase either an annuity or an income drawdown. Now, because I think there's a clamor for us to access our funds. Is that not so? We want cash. Is that not so? We want cash in our pockets. We want cash badly. Now, there are advantages towards taking cash. Sometimes we might believe that we are so confident that we will use the cash properly. But you've seen the way the cash is eaten. And cash is good. But have you noticed at the end of the month how people behave? End month. All of a sudden, when the month comes to it means that we are more confident. And because we are more confident, what needs to be done is that let us not be overconfident that we will utilize the cash that we receive in a good way. Number two, we tend to have lack of self-control. We can't control ourselves as far as cash is concerned. Hence, the danger in actually accessing the cash. Who can tell me, who can be as disciplined as Dr. Bernard here? You know, that's a very high level of discipline. He probably is 0.005% of us because he has shown some control in how to utilize his funds. Then, of course, there may be poor management of investments, and the intended benefit at retirement may not even be achieved, then of course there are very high risks in self-investments. No wonder Madam Zake decided, I don't want the risk in investing the money. Let those guys take the risk. Let me receive my money every other month and I'll be happy ever after. So this is how guys have used the lump sum. This is how guys have used the lump sum in Kenya. Another research done by RBA has shown, sorry, I looked for research data from UBRA. I didn't get, they are 10 years old. RBA is 20 years old. So please, next time we will use data from there, all right? Have you forgiven me for that? Am I forgiven for that? But Kenyans are our brothers, and I need to make a declaration here that I'm also a son of this place because I'm married from Uganda here. So I'm rightfully here. So when I'm standing here, I'm rightfully here. Is that not so? I can actually ask for citizenship here and I'm given if I want to. I'm entitled. True or false? So this is how guys have used cash. This cash that you are clamoring for, this is how guys have used it. They have consumed, they have eaten. They have done what? They have done what? They have eaten 75.8%. When you eat, is there a result for eating? The result for eating is to go to the toilet. Is that not so? That is the only result that comes in from eating the money. So 75.8% ate the money. They did what? Ate the money. That is over 3/4 of the guys who accessed cash ate the money. Then we have a few clever ones, 2.8%, a few clever ones who went to the stock market and invested. So they bought shares, they bought bonds, they bought treasury bills, and so on and so forth. A small margin, 2.8%. There are some people who said, I have been teaching here entrepreneurship for the last 30 years. I can go into serious business. Is that not so? So they went into business. 21.4% decided to take what? To go into business. Now let us see. These people who went to business, how did they perform? What do you think happened to them? So these people who went into business, this is how the business looks like. 48% of the business is unprofitable. You know that business where you're waking up every day, going there, and just showing faces. You know, it's a business. You have a business card, you have an office, and you're telling people, I am running this business, but it is unprofitable. It is what? It's unprofitable. Then 21% collapsed. 21% did what? Collapsed completely. And then we have just this small percentage, 31%, that is operating what? Profitably. So then you can still do business, but the statistics should tell you the probability of success in the business. So that's how cash has been utilized across Kenya. So what can you do if you ever get the cash? What should you do? What you need to do firstly is to make sure that you calm down, relax. Do what? Calm down, relax, okay? Don't be anxious. Madam, you're laughing. You need to relax, you need to calm down. Then be prepared to seek financial advice if need be. I can see people here. You have a lot of people on board. Gen Africa, these are investment consultants. Consult. If you need help, then determine your goals. So, you know, once you relax with that money, and the way to relax with the money is probably to take it and put it in a parking area. He talked of a fixed deposit scheme. You can use a money market fund to be able to do that. So put the money there, let it rest there so that you can think of how to use it. But better still, use his idea. Have the ideas much earlier Then once the money comes, put them into those particular what? Ideas. Number two, get paid in installments. Susan, if somebody came and told you, I have not handled 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, please pay me 5 million today, leave that one in the fund to continue earning, enjoying a return, pay me the other one. Would you refuse? She will not refuse, guys. So you can actually take your money in what? Installments. Okay, guys? You are not being forced to take the money. And I think Wilbur mentioned something very nicely. Don't claim, don't be like a hard, that because everybody is taking, even me, I have to do what? I have to take. Is that not so? People are taking. Those are the people. Don't do that. And then keep off scammers and relatives. Bernard, have I used your words? You keep off scammers and relatives. They'll be happy to squander that money. They'll be happy to help you reduce on that money. So those are the guys that you have to ensure that you keep off them, because they are going to mess you up. So the other things that you need to remember, we're just educating each other here, is basic things, including benefits planning. So when the secretary and the board, when the board sends you information, tells you, nominate your beneficiaries, please don't ignore the emails. Make sure you update your benefits records. It's actually very important for you. It's important for your dependents. It's important for your family. Then wills. Have you written your will? Again, these are things that you need to take into account. Do you want to have your property under trust for the sake of the future generations? These are just some things that I thought you would be able to consider going forward. So early access has been a thorn in the flesh globally. There are people who have clamored for access to funds, and indeed there are countries that have changed their pension systems to accommodate early access to funds. And the reason why there's a clamor or there's a challenge is to try and see if there are people who genuinely require the money now. Is that not so? But there are people who don't require the money. So early access has its major challenges. Again, people might be faced with shocks. For example, during the corona period, people lost jobs. Is that not so? People fell sick. People lost incomes from their businesses. So there may be a case for accessing some funds, but it has to be looked at in the context of limitation. To what extent should you access these particular funds? Now, remember that early access is a sword that cuts both sides. It is very sweet. I will have money in my pocket now. Unfortunately, you will have money now, but you'll be broke then. And what have we said? God has blessed you. God is going to bless you with a long life. And therefore, if you don't have money then, how will you survive? Will you not become a problem to the community and the society? Will you not become a problem? So ensure that there is a careful balance between accessing the funds and ensuring that you have sufficient retirement income. So again, even if you access the funds and you tell me, I want the money to build a house, remember, you might end up building that house, but you might be asset rich, but cash poor. So you have this huge house, this humongous house, but you do not have money to buy matoke for supper. But you have this huge house. How does that sit with you? So access to pension savings is good, but it has its pitfalls. So again, when people access funds, by the way, you need to be concerned as a member of the scheme if many people are accessing funds. Do you know why? When they access funds, the scheme will lack a sufficient pool of funds to pull off huge investments of a long-term nature, which could have potentially generated very good returns. Why? Because the scheme has to put a lot of money in the form of cash. So they have to change their investment policy statement to have cash holdings, which cash holdings don't have a high return. If they had this building here that belongs to them, then they are assured that they have high returns from appreciation of the building, plus also rental income. So access does not only affect that member who is withdrawing, it also affects the members who are remaining. Are you seeing that fact? Guys, have you seen that fact? Because pension funds are for the long term. They are not for the short term. Again, access, as much as the secretary has said they are ready and willing, it is obvious that they will be faced with a lot of administrative issues, with a lot of applications for early access. So hence, this may actually make the scheme costs go higher just by that fact that people want to access their money more. So again, we must say that there must be a very clear trade-off between avoiding poverty now and making sure that you have sufficient funds for the future, for future retirement. So guys, you're very quiet. So what have we said? We have said, one, that plan for retirement. Two, we have said that when you're handling cash or accessing the cash, take a lot of care. We have said that you need to save and invest for retirement. We have said that access may be good in certain limited circumstances, but access may not necessarily be good for in a majority of the cases. So we have said, even in instances where you access, you must be careful to ensure that whatever funds you access are able to help you in the future. We have said that God loves you and you're going to live long, and therefore you need money in the future. Thank you for listening to me. So maybe if there's a question or reaction, I stand guided.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jamwaka, for that wonderful presentation on early access to retirement benefit scheme, early access to retirement benefits, as well as retirement planning in general. Members in attendance, let's join our hands to thank Mr. Jamwaka. Yes, we learned a lesson or two. I believe all of us have picked a lesson or two as we plan for our retirement, especially in this season where we're discussing about should I access, should I not access, what am I going to do with this money? Should I start investing now or I wait to get the midterm or to get the retirement benefits? So we are here to sensitize each other. We are here to learn. And yes, we have picked a few lessons. I believe what may apply to me may actually not apply to you. And the reason why we sensitize is for you to have as much knowledge as possible as you take these decisions on early access, savings, investments, and the like.
So you need to have a lot of information such that you take decisions from an informed point of view. Well, we're proceeding and would like to take on questions. Would like to have questions for Mr. Jamwaka, but also we can have questions for our retirees. Yes, we may have some questions on how they've done it. And we may also have questions for the trustees. So the floor is open for the online audience. We request that you post your questions in the chat room. While for the physical audience, I'm going to invite Mr. Joseph Ikalkok to coordinate the Q&A session. Yes, Mr. Ikalkok, you're most welcome to take us forth. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm by the names Joseph Ikalkok, Board of Trustees representing Niue in the board. And at the same time where you are seated here, I'm the in charge. Now, if you are a new person in this place, if this is your first time and you're failing to know places of convenience, you just take that route behind there and you will find the place of convenience there. So I want first of all to thank the presenters, both our brothers and sisters who have presented very well here, and our consultant. I think members, we have been tasked a lot as the Board of Trustees to really explain about the early access, most especially midterm access. But on that point, I know you have grasped something. So at this point of time, if there is something that is really not clear to you, I would propose, one, that you can raise up your hand and ask a question. I think should be directed to the person whom you feel can answer it well to you. Then two, you can also write something on a small sheet of paper if you have it, such that we try to simplify time. You forward it here, that small piece of paper, then we read your question. So on that note, I would request one of our secretariat person to move the microphone round. So without wasting time, you can raise up your hand if you have a question. Please, Rebecca. Now, at this point, we shall first get 5 questions. It is answered, then we go for another set.
Hello, senior citizens. I hope we are all together here. I'm called Chitichamogo Bata Emmanuel. I think I'm loud and audible. Hello, hello. Well, I for one, is it early access to retirement or early access to retirement? Because you are given a letter of retirement a year in advance, but not even your pension, your emoluments have been prepared. Then too, you are served with a letter in advance that you are retiring. Why should not they prepare your payments? You continue hovering around like a loafer, like a beggar, like a lumpen, like a mediocre, who has not served this university. Some of us have served this university since 1976, during a meal. This university here, it is like a mental hospital. Somebody is speaking a different thing. These ones are in meetings. They are not coming out with any serious conclusion on anything. And these are the very people who we meet around. Hey, have you been paid? What is there at Mobus? What is there at Mobus? Eh? Is this the way we have to conduct ourselves? 37 years and we think that we are coming in for changes. Kasatwe bakakutulo. That is all, sir.
Second one.
Thank you. Amuti Geoffrey is my name. This question is directed to the last presenter. I, for one, am seeing a mismatch in advocating for leaving our funds with the current, that's MAPS, to giving away some little funds, maybe start off capital to somebody who has the plans but lacks funds, initial capital to start off. Can he leverage further on this? Thank you.
Can I get a lady to balance this and then I get back to the man?
Be balanced, be balanced.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph. I would like to thank Mr. Jamwaka for the presentation. He has taken us through early midterm access, but he has not specifically hinted on how it is going to be implemented. Is it on? Is it accepted? Who is eligible? What are the terms and conditions? So can he maybe elaborate on that? Who is eligible? Is it really on board that people can access? That is what I want to hear.
Your name, please, madam.
Marion Nanyans.
The fourth question.
Thank you so much. Okay, I was trying to follow like those testimonies there. I myself am a support staff. But now it looks as if that was working properly for those senior staff. And like some of us, the low income earners. And then one time I got a bit disappointed. Okay, when I joined the university, I was working on a contract in guest house as a driver. But like we used to admire those people who are working on permanent, and we used to describe them that they work on permanent and pensionable. But when I changed from contract to this permanent job, then I came to realize that Makerere University, unlike other civil servants in other government institutions, they're entitled to a pensionable scheme for running for a number of years after retirement. So I really don't know how can that, because it looks as if you have to get something, you get money, then off you go, no pension. So, okay, it's not relevant to this, but I know this is not to be the right follow, but anyway, thank you.
Your names?
Albert Wekesa.
The last question, the first set.
Thank you very much. I am Richard Semju. My questions go to Mr. Jamwaka. May he explain more on the commercial papers? What are they? And the second question is, how easy is it to access and invest in the capital markets? Thank you.
So members, on that note, let's first respond to those 5 questions, then we shall go for the second set. Rebecca, there's a microphone here. I think the first question on by Mr. Chitichamogo, I think for him was just lamenting about the institution. I would request a chair board to respond, because this is basically in-house benefits, which has really frustrated most of our staff.
Thank you very much, Joseph. I don't know what to say because you have already answered the question. Mr. Bate, we are very sorry.
Chiti Chamuogo, we are very sorry and apologize about what you're going through, because it's those kinds of situations that we want to avoid. But our members, the money Mr. Chiti Chamuogo is talking about is from a different scheme, the in-house scheme. MABS is only a conduit through which that money is paid. So if it is not with us, then unfortunately we cannot pay it. So, but the scheme is working very hard to have that money coming. As soon as it is in, I think you know very well, it doesn't spend any longer on our account. We pay it to the beneficiaries. But it's a different scheme, the in-house scheme. It's not MABS. Thank you.
Chiti Chamuogo, I think the issue of in-house benefits, if we begin going into that topic, it will need us again to have more 2 hours, because the genesis of in-house benefits, it ended up in a court. So MABS was just used as an agency that when government sends money, pay to the beneficiaries. If it has not come, members should hold on. But I know on the other side of the members, it is so painful. It is so painful. You needed this money immediately, you retire and you go. The way we do it with the normal benefits, 13 working days, your benefits are in your account. But this one of in-house, even us on this side is stressing us. But we pray, like the secretary said, in the next 2 years, we shall have exhausted that. So we only pray that let government send money in time, depending on how management can negotiate also with government, so that these beneficiaries are catered for. So let us not go so deep in the in-house benefits, but we only pray that government sends in time. I know there are online questions, whereby let's finish these fiscal ones, then we shall come to the online. So, Mr. Amuti, I think you directed your question to our consultant about the mismatch, whereby he's talking of startup capital.
So good afternoon once more. So the question here was in terms of the mismatch between leaving the funds in the scheme and taking it elsewhere. All right. So here, the major parameter that would apply is the return you would expect from a given fund plus another fund. Again, the security of that particular fund. So you look at various factors and then make a consideration in terms of which option is best suited for you. So it may be an idea, but so long as you have a better return and better security elsewhere in terms of the risk, then you would go for that particular option. I don't know whether that is clear. Then there's the other question, which was asked, which was straightforward, in terms of ease of investment in the capital markets. I think you've realized that the capital markets in the East African community countries have increasingly become friendlier to the citizens of the country. Initially, capital markets were for certain classes of people. But right now, you can easily invest in the capital markets indirectly through what we call mutual funds. So the funds like money market funds can allow you to invest in bonds. It can allow you to invest in other more liquid investments. The equity fund can allow you to invest in securities, in shares, and so on and so forth. The property fund can allow you to invest in property and so on and so forth. What am I saying? I am saying that today you can actually go to your bank or using your mobile money arrangement to actually sign up for a unit trust fund with very minimal amounts of money that you can be putting in the fund, and you will have actually been participating indirectly in the capital market. So ease of entry is there, ease of exit is there, because even if you want your money, you again, access to that money is actually very easy. So I want to encourage us as we think about where to put our money and savings for future needs, let us use the instrument available in the capital markets. They're actually quite accessible and easy to use. Thank you.
I think the consultant has responded properly. Mr. Wakesa, you mentioned something about, I think, the imbalance of the retirees. I think today the invitation of the retirees was balanced. Nwe is represented, Masa is represented, Mwasa is represented. So we are really catered for. And then you were asking about pension. I think Board Secretary, I would request you respond to that.
Thank you, Joseph. I got this question well. It was that this terminology is used, permanent and pensionable, but at the end of the day, I think when you move on contract, you don't have pension. First, the way the university does it these days is even when you have a contract, you also make a contribution to retirement benefits. That's the way the university does it now. Ever since the exemption was got, whether you're on contract, whether you're on permanent terms, whether you're on probation, whether you're on a project, you should be contributing to, the employer should be contributing to your retirement benefits. However, pension in the strict term, the way it is used in public service is that when you get to retirement age, you start receiving something monthly similar to your salary, I think up to a time when you die yourself. That's the strict sense of pension. And I'm not sure whether when the university writes these letters these days, whether it puts there that word, that we are appointing you under permanent and pensionable terms. But if they don't, it is difficult to hold it accountable. However, it is mandated to make contributions towards your retirement benefits. And when that has been done, and you reach a point of access, that is either your employment contract ends or you reach retirement age or whatever condition is, and you come to MABS, what we do is we give you those benefits lump sum. If you've contributed whatever you see on your statement, if your statement is reading 60 million, 5 million, 3 million, we get all of it and say, here it is. Part of the reason why you have sessions like this is to say the one we've had, you can get it and go and buy a bond and create your own pension. You can get it and put it in a stock market. You can get it and buy an annuity. That's part of the reason we have, that's part of the reason why we hold these sensitization programs. But as far as the university is concerned, it will have executed its obligation, because the obligation of the university is to deduct 5% from you and also send another 10% on your behalf to us. And when you reach retirement age or time at which you can access whatever has been accumulating with the interest, like I was explaining here, with the interest that we have been awarding, that appears on your statement, it becomes accessible to you. We give it to you. So the obligations have been fully executed. The rest now becomes retirement planning. You want an annuity, you want this, that now becomes your personal choice. I hope I've explained it well.
Thank you, Board Secretary. So the online questions, can you display them such that we read for the members and? Oh, sorry.
Process, how will it be implemented? Is it accessible and so on? I explained this when we were beginning this session, that once UBRA has finished providing an approval, the normal process which is used for applying benefits is the one that will be used. So you probably will not allow somebody to come with a bag and say, give me mine here in this Cavera. No, no, no. We'll be using the same process which we use. You fill in an application form, you ask the account where you want to deposit the money. The same process used for applying benefits is the process that is going to be used. So there will be no exception to it. The extra work will be at the scheme to be able to do due diligence to ensure that the condition is met, because these are clearly spelled out. The ones I was reading out, that are they met? If they are met, then the disbursement of the funds will take place. Oh, the conditions are the ones who qualify. It is if you've worked, if you are at least 45 years of age and you've contributed to the scheme for at least 10 years, you will be able to qualify to get 12% of your benefits at any time you apply.
Thank you. That was Marion's question. You have responded to that one. So the online audience questions, I can read them. The first one is Josephine Nantongo Juko. Thanks for the presentations. I think it is better for us to access the money before retirement, when still able to productively, that's physically, mentally invest it. I think that one goes to Secretary. You even mentioned it earlier. The other one is the one who is displaying, please don't keep changing. MABS, I have a complaint too. In 2021 Feb, they stopped paying me reasons that they had two similar names of mine. I went to salaries and found that there were two names written differently, one with the Christian name first, then second surname first. But they had not written all my names as they were when I applied for the job. Ever since March 2021, I have been moving to rectify my name, but it took up to October 2022. Then in November, I was paid part of my salary. Now, getting the rest of my money as arrears is also becoming a problem. How can I be helped to get my arrears and also be sent to my savings in MABS? Thank you. That one I'm sending to PPO. Next one is MABS would have saved us more if they had allowed us get loans from it instead of going to banks at a lower interest rate. This is from Warieyo Frederick. Can you first respond to those two? The question you're responding to is about this person who has, there are two people sharing the same names, and one has not been getting her payments, that salary. When she rectified it in November, she started receiving, but the arrears, how can she be helped? And also she wants to know about MABS. Does her money come to MABS?
Thank you. I think the only way I can answer that is that, first of all, this person needs to launch an inquiry with us, and so that we now follow the formal process of addressing that inquiry. But if it has been launched already, then I believe, I just missed the name, but I believe we have already liaised with that person and gotten in touch with the Director HR's office, because usually that is our first point of contact. We first read the history. We study the nature of the inquiry. We confirm that indeed there are areas outstanding, and we get updates from the Directorate of HR working with the member. Because on one hand, it is on the employer's side where the person has to address the issue as an employee. of Makerere University. And then on the other side, there is the scheme where we have to follow up on the contributions, but we can reassure that person that if they haven't launched an inquiry, they need to just come to the office or send us an email, send us a WhatsApp, or call us on a toll-free number, which is, I think, displayed already. Rebecca will advise later, but let them get in touch if they haven't. If they have, let them seek for an update. We'll be able to give it.
Thank you, PPO, for responding to that. There are still other questions. Let's read. Can MABs provide annuity to members so that we don't have to take money to other service providers? Yes. MABs only is a conduit also. It connects you to the person offering annuity program. We don't have annuity plan with us, but we connect you to the service provider. MABs, can you provide annuity to members? Next. Can we access copies of those presentations? Thank you. Yes or no? The copies of the presentations, you will contact the scheme office. That's already circulated to MABs. Given your experience and working with UBRA, when are the midterm applications likely to be called? This board secretary has just responded to that. At what point can one start applying for the annuity plan? Can one use his access to get onto the annuity plan? Yes, that is if you have the minimum amount, because the annuity plan has threshold. You just don't join it with any amount. There's a certain plan. It is possible. What happens to annuities when I die? I think that question I can throw it to the consultant. Yes, Madam Zake is offering to answer.
There was another one. That what happens that when someone dies?
Maybe the one who is scrolling, the question is scrolling. It's there, okay, by Andrew Tamale. What happens to annuities when I die?
Okay. There is a guarantee period that can be selected by the one who is investing in the annuity. For example, if it is a guarantee period of 15 years, it means if you die, then your beneficiaries will get those benefits.
Thank you. I think you have responded it properly. I think there's that question to you again, but
the other one about basic needs for survival.
Yes.
This varies from one person to another. But for me personally, yes, it is providing for my basic needs.
Thank you.
But it depends on how much someone decides to invest in that annuity. To give you a rough idea, I invested all my retirement benefits, and currently what I'm getting is like a third of what I used to get when I was working for the university.
That's great. So, Madam Call, please don't hesitate to join the annuity plan.
Let me just add something.
I think now the online audience, hold on. Now I will need to get the last set of questions from the fiscal audience. Again, I'm taking 5 people because we have to leave here in time. Yes, let our consultant add something.
Thank you. So I think there's quite some interest in the annuity arrangement. So annuities are issued by insurance companies, life insurance companies. And the way they work is that there is a guaranteed period that is given. That guaranteed period, what it does is that in case of death before that guaranteed period, money continues to be paid to a dependent whom you will have selected. Now, there is an improvement on the annuity, which we call income drawdown. Now, it's a little bit sophisticated. However, it would be good for you because it will allow you to have that lump sum of money and then receive an income, but provides you also flexibility such that on the days when you have money in your pocket, you don't have to receive the income. So you can say, don't pay me now, pay me another time. Then the beauty about it again is that the balance of the fund is actually paid to your beneficiaries. So it's something that we will still need to keep sensitizing ourselves on, the income drawdown solution, which is quite similar to the annuity. Thank you.
Point is noted. We are taking the last set of questions. So 5 members.
Thank you so much. My name is Arthur Tugume, and I'm a professor here at Makerere. Now, mine is an appeal to MABS. When I clocked 35 years, I just finished my doctoral studies, I came to a conclusion that my salary will never sustain me. And so I tried to struggle to see how I can be able to live without it, although I had a house of my own. And I made many mistakes, including borrowing so much money from the bank to develop yourself. And it was horrible, but it is good I went through that because then I was a much better person. So what my brother was sharing, I was wondering to myself, the reach of MABS in giving these very important, impactful lessons is quite limited because I'm imagining the people who are listening in to these teachings and this reach out are people who are either preparing for retiring or who have been triggered by a certain condition in their lives, but not people who are 35 years, who are 30 years of age, who are still working. Those ones don't believe that they will retire at one time. And this is very dangerous because, I was intrigued what he went through and what he was telling us and eventually, because when I look at the age group here, I'm not very old, but I'm also not very young. But is there a way in which MABS, honestly speaking, because when you hear the whole about midterm access or midterm, it's a very good thing. They forgot to tell us the advantages of having midterm access. The spirit and soul of this talk was appearing that you take it at your own risk, you see. It was like, but still you can see people saying, it is better we get it now when we are still strong and we can invest it and we only, and that is the truth. But I would love to take another angle. Why not reach out to people who are 30 years and younger, or maybe 35 age, highest age, to get them knowledge on this? I can tell you this money is interesting. And it has been interesting for me. And I'm glad that although I may not be so much there as a retiree, but I can see something coming that is very good to prepare people. So my plea, my request and plea is that MABS, Professor Kalkuwa, I request that you make something that will reach out to people who are younger than us. Then we are going to be much better than we are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. There's another hand the other side.
Thank you very much. MABS organizing this and all members present. Mine are typically questions of concern. First, I want to start with how these schemes operate. It seems there's some challenge. From the statistics, the trend that was given us on the interest rates paid over a period of time, I have noted that apart from one where they paid to 17%, and when I recall that was because of an impairment reversal, it was not because of the earnings. All others were 11 and below, which is a mediocre performance, far below the average return of a bond, a government bond. Is it that MABS is investing in investments with a lot of hesitation or whatever, because the return, the interest there 11, even NSS pays higher than this, and far below the average return of a government bond. So I'm not sure what type of investment we are in with that trend, and only trying to appease us with the 17% arising from an impairment reversal. That is one question. What type of investment do we engage? Because on average, outside there, the investment rate of return is 14 to 17, and we're in 11%. The other one is on the interest for those persons who withdraw. Many times when I look at the persons who withdraw, especially you count your financial period up to June, 30th June. And if a party withdraws his money maybe by December, that's 6 months into the next financial year, what happens? That's before you have declared the interest for that period, that person forfeits all the interest instead of time waiting it. I don't know. This goes very much cheating on the savers on the retirement benefit fund. I want to repeat that thing. If by 30th June, my total investment or retirement benefit is 20 million, and then I withdraw partially or the whole of it by 3 months deep into the next financial year. When they are computing the interest, this person who has withdrawn before the interest was declared profits. I don't know why. Why don't you do time waiting up to the time he withdrew? You pay him that interest. So that is the other concern I'm having, and I think this is a cheatery of the savers in the scheme. The other thing is what happens in a situation where somebody metabolizes, where there's a metamorphosis from a position within Makerere University where you are a contributory to a position where you are non-contributory. Because I know in Makerere University, there are some positions that are non-contributory. If there's a metamorphosis from this one to the other one, do you qualify to liquidate now your retirement benefit or not? I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Bernard Mujisha. I have worked here for more than 25 years and have gained a lot of experience in both, especially in areas of what they are teaching now. I will not agree with my brother, the secretary, that getting mid-term access is wrong. When we got Nick, I got 12 million. I bought a plot in Nansana. As we talk now, if I want to dispose it off, I can get 120 million. And I go home happy. So getting mid-term access, partly it is good. But to those who did not do the way I did it, they may go with his thinking. Thank you very much. Then two, there was a question, you know, I work with the community. I'm with the chairman. People were telling us, why do you take Narongos to antenatal classes? For us, we know how to produce. They know how to, for example, they know how to make money. They have been with money for some times. Why do you bring them to us to teach them how to make money? Yeah? How to get rich, how to live in a better condition after retirement. I agree with management of MABs. Sometimes it is good to be told that if you mess up after getting it, it is up to you. So now my question goes to my brother, Banada Doctor. I, Bernard, have invested much in my children, taking them to good schools, in order that in next years, these children may help me. But now when they are teaching, they are saying, don't invest much, don't put more. Because these children may again break your bond. So I want you, from your experience, doctor, I know you have children. Yes, you have money. But how are your children trying also to add on what you invested? Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Ben. I think that one should be the second last question. Do you have a hand up anywhere? Okay.
Members, my name's Sim Arthur Kamkau. My question goes to I think the consultant. MABS is a member savings scheme, I presume. The investments that MABS comes up with are made using savings of the members. And I know that the interest we get at the end of the financial year come from both long-term and short-term investments. How come when the members retire, don't benefit from these investments in terms of interest gained from them? This question marries with the question of Mr. I think he has gone. The one who was in guest house was asking about the pension. Thank you for being patient. So I'm of the view that if it is about the legality of the operation of the scheme, there I rest my case. But if it is within the means of the members to adjust and be accommodated in that interest that is generated after their retirement, for sure it is a very big concern. And those who have worked tirelessly to save, and these scheme managers to make such investments and interest for the members should even consider those who have retired, because those investments, some of them are long-term and permanent. That is my question.
Thank you, Arthur. It's like somebody asked me, that house of NSSF, how do I benefit after retirement? I think on those few questions, I would request my board secretary to respond to the first question of Professor Tugume.
There is one more question.
Where? Oh, I had not seen that hand.
Mbalamusiza ba staff banana. Ensonga ezange zimbuza ensonga esooka nti mwogedde ku sente pension, but never support staff balina okufunako ku sente ezo nga bamaze okuwumula oba.
Amanyago?
Sempira Matia. Ensonga ey'okubiri mbuuza nti MABS tuterekedde nnyo sente naye wali ebibadde bigambwa nti bagenda kuwaako tuwanga ekitundu omuntu asobole okugenda yeetegeke essaawa y'okugenda nga tennatuuka, naye tubiwulira naye tetumanyi oba bituufu oba si bituufu. Ensonga eddako nti bwe mba omuntu awumudde, sente ze ezo zimala bbanga ki okuzifuna? Zifuna oluvannyuma lw'okumala okufuna ebbaluwa oba? kubanga abawumudde bangi bakaaba sente zaabwe tezivaayo mangu kiva ku ki ensonga ezange.
I think we are closing there for questions from the fiscal audience. I think, Board Secretary, I would request that you respond to most of those questions to simplify on time. Sorry.
Kitwala bbanga ki omuntu amaze okuwumula okufuna ssente ezo? Kitwala ennaku 13 zetwateekawo ffe bennyini okukola ku mpapula zo bw'oba ng'ozireese nga zonna ziweddeyo. Naye bwe ziba nga teziwedde era tugamba nti kino tekiriiko kino tekiriiko, ng'omaze okuwumula ng'oli mulamu gwe kennyini. Naye bw'oba ng'owumudde mu ngeri eri endala, kisobola okutwalako okukadde kubanga tuba tulina okwebuuza ku bya university abantu abalala balina okufuna ssente ezo. Kituufu nti ssente zino ezigenda okufunibwa nga omuntu tanaba kuwumula eza mid-term kigenda kubeerawo oba nedda? Kigenda kubeerawo kubanga kye kituleese wano olwaleero. Twongera kubateekateeka nti bwe muba nga muzifunye muzikozese bulungi. Ndowooza ebyo ebibaddemu ebikulu mu ekyo ekibuuziddwa taata oyo. We appreciate Professor Tugume. I think we appreciate what you have pointed out. And our desire and plan and strategy is to be able to conduct all member education programs at college level or at unit level. We are just still building capacity where we can do that. We believe that when we take these services closer to the people, that we'll be able to get them more than when we centralize it. But that's the strategy, the long-term strategy that we have, that to get to those age ranges, we can go to where the units where they stay. But we are still building capacity on that. But it's something that we've also observed. The three questions asked by CPA, I'll start from the bottom. What happens when one modifies from one contributory to non-contributory? Does it liquidate? At the moment, like I said, whether as long as you are an employee of the university, we must receive your retirement benefits. That's what it is, to mean that you are an employer mandatory scheme. So even if you're on contract, we should receive those benefits. Even if you're on what we would call permanent, you haven't reached retirement age, you're on probation, we should do. So if you move from probation to permanent, that point, there is no access condition for it. So you don't access. If you reach 60 and you move to contract, you have attained an access point at that point. Because one of the access points is when you reach retirement age, you can access your benefits. So if the normal employment contract is ending, the permanent one, and you are starting on the contract term, your benefits will be available for you to access. So we don't need anything special. It is your choice. You can say even the contract funds for contract, let them also go there, or you can access them if you want them. Then the second one was interest. When one has left, like say now, if this were in March, if one attains retirement age now and he draws the benefits now, CPO was asking, what happened? What do we do there? It is at this time, you access all your benefits up to 30th June 2022, and all the contributions after June 2022 up to today. You'll get that money. Now, when interest is declared for this financial year, we also give you what we call deferred interest. That's the interest which will have been calculated between 1st of July and 2nd of March. So that's the way it is done. What type of investments do we do? These investments, we disclose them in all our annual reports. You are looking at the rates, and you indicated those rates are not, they are low rates, except one which was 17. However, members, in this type of session, I think we also move together. When in the sector, when you are looking at, if you want to analyze those figures very well, don't look at interest for 1 year, because we are long-term funds. When you're analyzing them, look at interest over 5 years, look at interest over 10 years. That's what helps. It doesn't help to give you interest of 17 today, then tomorrow you are getting 3, then the other day you are getting 5. So when you're analyzing them for retirement benefits funds, look at interest over a period of time. Look at 5 years, look at 10 years, and look at maybe 15 years and see what it will be, because we've been disclosing these figures in the what? In our annual report. But for further information on that one, this is a regulated industry. In the retirement benefits sector, the security of member funds is more important than the returns you are giving them. First and foremost, what a member has contributed must be secure than if we bought spare parts and we gave you an interest of 40 or 50%. So what the regulator has done to ensure that is he has put limits, and has said, if you are investing in this area, you stop here. If you are investing in this area, you stop here, and don't invest in this, this, and this. He has stipulated himself that you must to put that into practice, that invest in these areas, and when you go there, you stop here. So that's how we come up with those figures. And there are also journals that I mean statistics that are released by the regulator. And I think when you look at those figures, you'll see that maybe we are among the best. But also when you take now, for instance, I think the real return on, say, a 15-year bond would be something like 15. And when you put tax, it may drop to about 14. But this is not 5 years ago. We've kept these funds for 10 years. 10 years back, these rates were not like that. The rates which you are looking at today, they were not those rates. So you have to look at all those totalities. Look at the sector, look at the regulator, what it is saying, and look backwards and look at those rates over a period of time. Then the one which was directed to the regulator about we invest in short term and also we invest longer term. Therefore, if we've invested the longer term and the member has exited, why shouldn't we give him part of what we invested when he was around? Remember when you are joining, you also found some investments. You get it? This is a long term. When you join today, the investments which are running, you benefit from them. You could also be benefiting from a 20-year bond, which was bought 5 years back. So what we do in that year and declare that this is what we've got in this year, the law requires that we fully distribute that one to members, how we've operated that year. So we do not have leeways to say that if you are around and we buy a bond that year and it is a 20-year bond, or you put up, like he was saying, you put it at NSSF building, you complete it today, then you say, they used my money to build that building. So next year, let me go and get part. The other year, let me go and get part. No, it doesn't work like that. Because you may also come when that building is already there. To my brother Bernard, it is, I did not say that don't take your benefits. I did not say that. But I said, have as much information as possible before you take so that you make an informed decision. This is the reason why the consultant was this why even our retirees was, and that's what I also said. I said, just don't follow that people are withdrawing. Take a careful thought yourself and see what you are going. He went further and said, you can, for instance, withdraw your mid-term mid-term and buy a bond. You can do that. Or you can go and buy land. But what we are doing now is sensitization, that as you prepare to take your mid-term, have as much information as possible on how the mid-term will help you. I think those are, I managed to run through all of them. And
I think the last question goes to Doctor about the children.
Yeah, Doctor, I'll answer that one of children. Oh, I mean, sorry.
I want to observe more the gentleman who asked the question. Okay. You look like a daddy, not so. I'm also a dad. I didn't do psychology, but at least anyway, what is psychology? It's all about observing behavioral patterns of organisms and then knowing how they behave. And then you know how to interact with them. I recall the statement I made. I said, don't bank on your children. You will be disappointed if you really bank and think that because you sent them to school, you invested school fees or tuition in them, then you must reap dividends. There are normally 3 reasons why we send children to school. 1, so that they don't become a liability to you in the future. Number 2, so that they don't become a menace to the village or your area where you gave birth to them. And even the nation at large. Number 3, maybe you hopefully think that they will assist you in your old age. I want you to be careful at this juncture. There are negative forces we send in space the moment we have negative thoughts about our children, simply because they have not done X for you. And besides, you may have also lacked in putting safety points in your life so that you don't bank on your children. I have 5 of them. 4 of them, girls, they are driving vehicles, and 1 of them works in a bank. She has been working for the last 10 years. But if I can recall, I've only got 250,000 shillings from her. And during COVID time, I got sick, but not of COVID. The first call between us, Dad, have you gone for a COVID test? I said, I don't have money. Dad, can't you have 200,000 shillings for a COVID test? I said, I don't have. She was on the testing ground. You know who gave me money? A person I've never seen, but we have been communicating simply because they wanted to give me some assignment one time. I've never seen this person up to now, but we have been communicating for 3 years. She's a lady from Ungamo. We have never met, but I connected and made sure that that contact doesn't die. Okay. Now, the second one is also the assistant lecturer here. She also drives, but that one is different. At one time, I just mentioned in passing that this phone of mine broke. 1 week later, the girl bought me an S9 Galaxy. I didn't tell her to buy it. One time she surfaced with the refrigerator in the house. I have radios, but she bought another radio. What did she bring yesterday? A gas hook. And I don't send her to do this. So these children, we give them different software. We give them the software under the same roof. But remember, they are individuals with the individual problems. We are born as individuals. Even your body cell has individual cells for particular purposes. So I don't want you to send negative forces to your children simply because they have not done ABC for you. Just wish that they can remember the services you rendered into them. And when they do give you something, say, pass your hands through your face and bless them. I don't know how many blessings that girl has got. The one who frequently does things. But I also don't want to stress the other ones. They have, like the other one who is in the bank, she has 4 children. She has a husband. They are educating their children. Then you come in as a mosaic because, and you want to be given money. I want my child to come to my place with a kilo of sugar and she finds 10 kilos in a corner. So that I don't lose credibility as a father. Why are you dad? Do you know that they will start refraining from your home? Every time I go to Mosaic, he's saying this problem. What not? No. If I don't have fuel, let the car sit. But why should it even sit if I know how to manage my finances? Anyway, I want your children to live in peace because of the other 3 reasons. So that they are not liabilities to you. They are not a menace to the village and the nation. And hopefully, they will possibly help you. Those ones who are sensitive enough to remember. I have 4 graduates. But only the other one, 250. This one, the sky is the limit. So I want your children to be at peace and don't send negative forces. Thoughts don't end in your mind. They communicate to the universe and then they enter where you focus them. Anyway, that's also a large topic. The philosophers will tell you.
Thank you very much for those responses. The online questions, I'm requesting that we are not going to respond to them now, but the Secretariat will be in position to respond to some of your questions. Due to the interest of time, I would stop there for Q&A because it's already past 5. So I hand over the microphone to Juliet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ikalkok, for coordinating the Q&A. Let's give him a round of applause. And thank you so much, members who have stayed with us up to this moment. Yes, I've seen you have the hard copy feedback forms. As you step out, kindly drop them at the registration desk. We would like to receive your feedback to see how to improve sessions like this in the future. And for those who are attending the session online, Rebecca has shared the link to the feedback form. Kindly populate and give us feedback. At this point in time, allow me to invite the chairperson of the board to give us the closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Juliet. Like Joseph has observed, members have observed that we have gone beyond our time schedule, and I know MABS we keep time. So nonetheless, we are going to close, and it is going to be very easy for me. But I would like to first appreciate ourselves. For us, the members who are here and those who are online, please let us clap for ourselves. Like the consultant has observed, we are over 3,000 active members. Where are the rest? But those who have attended, please be the messengers. I think the message has been very enriching. I will not thank everyone, but still let us thank our consultant, Mr. Joseph Jamwaka. It has been very enriching. So thank you very much. As we go away, there have been so many takeaways. This is a retirement savings scheme for the members. So ideally, even in the face of early access, we are saving for retirement, and we must all save for a target. So what is your target as you save for retirement? I think that's key. Then to come very quickly to what we all want to hear about, that is midterm. I think we have the opportunity to make this a good fortune. There was one slide, if we forget everything, let's not forget that one. Please, first thing we do, calm down. Calm down, get a calculator, find out how much you have, compute 12% of 10 million, that's 1.2 million. Then calm down again. What can I do with 1.2 million? So that slide, we might forget everything, but let's not forget to calm down. We don't want to look back. For me, eating money means you look back and you don't remember where you put it. Maybe you bought fuel, it was good at that time, maybe you bought it, but you cannot reconnect where it was. So let's make this thing a good fortune for all of us. Thank you very much for the opportunity. We look forward to expanding further. Please come again next time you are invited. This session is hereby closed.